Hello, my beautiful nurturing Cancer souls, and welcome back to the Zodiac of Mind. Come closer for a moment and take a deep, cleansing breath with me. I have a feeling you were guided to be here right now because there's a message your gentle spirit has been waiting to hear. We need to talk about a profound cosmic law, one that is stirring and moving in your favor. There are truths you have never needed to speak aloud, wounds you have never needed to show, because the universe in its infinite wisdom has already witnessed the depth of your heart. Your soul, dear Cancer, was woven from the threads of pure nurturing and the deep tidal pull of emotion. You once loved with a desire to build a sanctuary, a sacred harbor meant to protect another from the storms of the world, but someone somewhere along your path mistook that sacred home for a temporary hotel, and that unconditional care for something they could simply drain and discard. And now a great rebalancing is underway. A powerful karmic tide is turning, not because you willed it with anger that is not your way, but because the fundamental laws of energy and justice must be honored. The cosmos itself is moving to restore the harmony that was so deeply disturbed. This message today isn't here to make you relive the pain. Oh no, my friends. It is here as a profound confirmation, a validation that you are not alone, that your journey of silent caregiving has been seen, and that every ounce of your devotion was recorded in the stars. In the second part of our journey today, I will reveal the subtle, yet unmistakable signs the universe is sending you, whispers that show your soul is approaching a moment of divine restitution. A time when all the past hurts will be gently returned to their source, leaving you free. So please stay with me on this journey, because what you are about to hear might just be the sacred affirmation you've been searching for in the quiet moments of the night. The proof that the warmth you so generously gave away is finally powerfully finding its way back home to you. Before we dive deep into the heart of this cosmic truth, if this message already resonates within your soul, take a moment to become a part of our growing community here at Zodiac of Mind. Press that subscribe button so you never miss these essential cosmic updates designed for your journey. And let me know you're here and ready to receive this healing by commenting below right now. I am ready to reclaim my peace. Your declaration adds energy to this collective healing, and I would be so honored to connect with you there. My dear Cancer, let's talk about the nature of your incredible heart. There are things you never had to shout from the rooftops, moments of neglect you never had to expose because the universe felt the silent cracking of your protective shell long ago. You, more than any other sign, understand the power of quiet endurance. You once chose that quiet, not because you were defeated or had nothing to say. Your emotional intelligence is a vast ocean of unspoken truths, but because you loved with the entirety of your being. You loved deeply enough to refuse to turn the sanctuary of your connection into a battlefield. You offered comfort again and again, not because their actions were excusable, but because your own heart's peace was more important to you than winning an argument. You refused to let their coldness extinguish your inner fire. You may have retreated at times, not in submission, but because your magnificent spirit has always instinctively known how to place emotional harmony and loyalty above the fleeting victory of pride. But here is a sad and profound truth of the human experience. The world, in its spiritual immaturity, often mistakes the depth of a nurturing heart for the weakness of a fragile one. They saw your lack of retaliation and assumed you didn't feel the chill of their neglect. They saw your unwavering loyalty, your choice to stay and try to mend the bond, and they misinterpreted it as an acceptance of their disrespect. And it was in those very moments of quiet misunderstanding, my friends, that karma began to weave its intricate and inescapable tapestry. It wasn't written by your hand, but by the very wounds you so gracefully tried to conceal from the world. Perhaps you didn't fully realize it then, Cancer, but every time they chose their own convenience over your emotional safety, every casual dismissal that chipped away at your soul, every single moment they took shelter in your warmth and then left you to face the cold alone, all of it was meticulously recorded. Not in a book of judgment, but in the energetic ledger of the cosmos. It was witnessed by a force that no one can outrun or deceive, a form of justice that doesn't need to scream or present evidence, because it is woven into the very fabric of existence. The person who wounded you so deeply didn't just break your heart. They triggered a universal law that is absolute, the law of cosmic balance. In the beautiful teachings of Buddhism, this is known as karma. It is the simple, elegant truth that whatever energy is sown from the heart will without fail return to bear fruit in one's life. In the Christian tradition, it is understood as the ever-watchful eyes of God, who sees all that is done in secret, even when humanity believes it is hidden by shadows. And you, dear Cancer, in that dynamic, you were the one who sowed a garden in a barren land. You brought your purest water to a soul who only knew how to create drought. They may have perceived you as overly sensitive, perhaps even simple in your devotion. But oh, how deeply they misunderstood. A pure and powerful heart like yours isn't pure because it is ignorant of darkness. It is pure because it has looked directly into the abyss of human carelessness and still defiantly chooses to radiate warmth. So please hear me now. Never ever blame yourself for the depth of your love. Do not carry an ounce of shame for believing you could create a safe home within someone else. Your love was never and will never be wrong. It was a sacred, magnificent gift. What was wrong, what created the energetic imbalance, was how they chose to dishonor and take that gift for granted. There is a heartbreaking truth that you likely swallowed in silence for far too long. You loved with unwavering truth, they existed with careless convenience. You held your promises in the very core of your soul. They held them as temporary tools. And even as you privately wished for them to awaken to see the damage they had caused, to simply acknowledge the truth, in the end, all you received was a deafening silence and a profound sense of being emotionally homeless. No one stood beside you. No one truly saw the rivers of tears that soaked your pillow in the dead of night. But do you know, this beautiful soul, each of those silent tears was not a sign of weakness. It was a potent spell, a quiet, powerful whisper that echoed into the deepest, most subtle realms of the spirit world. And it was those whispers, born of pure and wounded love, that summoned the great force of karma. Not as a cruel servant of revenge, but as a divine agent of liberation, sent to return freedom to a soul who had given its all to the wrong person. You no longer need to tell your story to anyone who won't listen. You don't need anyone else to believe the pain you so courageously hid. You only need to understand this one thing: you are no longer a victim in this story. You are now a witness to a quiet miracle that is unfolding in your life. Because there are things only the soul can truly sense. Like how when you think of them now, your heart doesn't ache with the same gut-wrenching intensity. Not because you've forgotten, but because you've intuitively stopped trying to find shelter in the source of the storm. You do not need an apology from them, because the universe is sending you something infinitely more valuable. It is sending you peace. It is time for you to fully embrace the understanding that forgiveness is not for them. Forgiveness does not mean you are condoning their behavior. Forgiveness is the ultimate act of self-love. It means you are consciously choosing to reclaim your own inner sanctuary. You don't have to win the argument anymore, because you realize that life isn't some grand stage where one person wins and another loses. Life is a sacred journey, and every soul on that journey will eventually and inevitably come face to face with the energy they once put out into the world. Cancer, you are a soul who loved with a truth that was almost otherworldly. And because you loved so truly, you were once wounded just as deeply. But it is for that very same reason, because you love so truly, that the universe now stands as your silent, powerful ally. This cosmic rebalancing won't arrive with loud, dramatic vengeance, not with the harsh and sudden falls that a small, wounded part of you may have once hoped they would face. It comes with a quiet, steady, and unmistakable power. Slowly, they will begin to feel a profound sense of coldness in their own lives, a lack of the very warmth they once took for granted. A door of opportunity will inexplicably close. A new relationship that seems so promising will suddenly feel strangely hollow and empty. Why? Because they willingly walked away from the most precious, life-affirming treasure they ever had: the unwavering, unconditional love of a soul like you. You once belonged to them, with every fiber of your being, but they operated under the arrogant assumption that your warmth would always be there to return to. They did not understand the profound nature of a Cancer's departure. When a Cancer finally lets go, it's not just a breakup. It's the closing of a home. It's the universe itself opening a brand new gateway for you, a gateway they are not invited to enter. They are and will be left behind in the world they created. Perhaps right in this moment, it still feels a little unfair. Maybe a part of you still looks out at the world and asks, why do those who cause such harm get to live in apparent peace? But my dear friend, you cannot see the true price they are paying. It is not a price paid in the material world of dollars and cents. It is paid in the vast, empty space that is growing within their own soul. A void that no amount of superficial success or fleeting pleasure can ever hope to fill. And you are healing. Not because they finally came back and apologized, but because your powerful soul made the conscious choice to rescue itself. You no longer need to appeal your case in the court of others' opinions. You do not need to justify your feelings. The radiant, authentic warmth that you now carry is the loudest, clearest declaration of truth in the entire universe. And that truth, my friends, always wins. You can close your eyes right now and just feel into this. Feel how far you have walked. You have journeyed from being a soul who desperately needed validation from others to becoming a soul who only needs to place a hand over their own heart to know with absolute certainty that they are finally home. Dear Cancer, no one can hurt you forever. Because once you have endured enough, once you have learned the lesson, the universe itself begins to lean in your direction. It begins to quietly, gently, and lovingly correct what has gone wrong. The process is silent, but it is utterly unstoppable. And if you are hearing this message right now, please know this: with every cell in your body, you are not being abandoned. You are being lifted. In our next part, I want to talk about a sacred spiritual symbol, one that often appears in your dreams and synchronicities, or in those strange, quiet moments that feel almost otherworldly, as if the universe is whispering directly to you that the karmic scales are finally decisively shifting. Have you ever been startled awake in the deep of the night, not by a noise, but by a strange, unsettling feeling in your home? A feeling like a cold draft when all the windows are closed. That wasn't random at all, my dear intuitive Cancer. That was a moment of profound connection. That was the moment your soul, in its heightened state of awareness, received a direct signal from the unseen world. It was a sign that something has begun to shift gently but irrevocably, like a great ocean tide silently pulling back from the shore, gathering its immense power. When cosmic justice begins to return, it doesn't knock on the door like a clap of thunder. It arrives far more subtly. It whispers. It comes through a sudden, inexplicable wave of loneliness that washes over them. It shows up in the way their eyes can no longer meet yours or even your photo. It manifests as an opportunity for genuine connection, suddenly vanishing into thin air without a trace or a reason. They won't understand why these things are happening. But you, on a deep soul level, you will. Because your spirit once felt these exact energetic ripples when you were the one living out the painful consequences of a broken emotional bond. Now, the one who once inflicted that pain is experiencing the other side of that same energetic equation. Not because you cast a curse or wished them ill, your heart is too pure for that, but because the universe simply does not allow something as sacred as your love to be dishonored without an eventual resounding echo. You may begin to notice strange and wonderful signs appearing in your life. Repeated number sequences like 222 or 777 might pop up every single time a thought of them crosses your mind. A perfectly smooth heart-shaped stone might suddenly appear on your path by the water. An old song, one that holds deep meaning for you, might start playing in a random cafe, a clear message from your spirit guides. Or most powerfully, you might have a dream of them. But in this dream, they don't return proud and arrogant. They return looking cold and lost, searching for a home they can no longer find. That, my friends, is a direct message from the invisible world. It is telling you that the door to your heart has been sealed, but the karmic wheel has just begun its powerful, inexorable turn. There was a time you waited patiently and painfully for them to understand. You held on to a sliver of hope that they would awaken from their spiritual slumber, that they would apologize, or at the very least feel a pang of genuine remorse for the devastation they caused. But they just moved on living their life, as if your chapter together had never even been written. They walked away, and you were left holding a pile of shattered memories and unanswered questions. But let me share with you a sacred truth. Real truth requires no defense. It doesn't need you to fight for it. It rises all on its own with quiet and undeniable grace, much like a beautiful lotus flower emerging from the darkest, muddiest waters. And those souls who carelessly wound what is pure, what is true, must eventually come face to face with their own shadow. It may be sooner or it may be later, but it is an absolute certainty. In the philosophy of Buddhism, karma is likened to a shadow that follows the form. There is no need for chasing, no need for revenge. It simply arrives in its own perfect time and in its own perfect way. In the Bible, there is a holy and powerful whisper. What is done in darkness will be brought to light. And you, my dear friend, you do not need to be the one to flick the switch. You don't need to expose anyone, because the light is coming all on its own. You don't even need to raise your hand. You might start to feel your own soul getting lighter, even if the circumstances of your life still feel a bit unclear. That feeling of lightness is a sign. It is one of the very first and most important signs of a spiritual rebirth. You no longer feel that desperate, aching need to pull them back into your life. You no longer believe that an apology from them is the key to your healing. You only want one thing now: peace. Dear Cancer, no one can manipulate your magnificent soul forever. You were not created to be a supporting character in someone else's chaotic drama. You were chosen by the universe to feel the deepest, most profound waves of human emotion, and then to perform the sacred alchemy of turning that pain into brilliant light. So please do not doubt it when these strange coincidences begin to appear more frequently. Don't overlook the tiny, beautiful signs like a butterfly landing on your window right as you're thinking of your future, or a vivid dream that leaves you with a feeling of inexplicable relief upon waking. These are the symbols of your karmic release. They are your soul's quiet, loving signal to you, confirming that you are no longer bound by the chains of the past. The other person, they may very well be out there repeating the exact same destructive patterns they once used on you, only this time with a new person. But here is the critical, life-altering difference. This time, there is no one there to carry their karma for them. Because you, the one who once lovingly shouldered all of that weight, have gracefully and powerfully stepped away. And when you step away, the universe begins the process of returning that energy to its rightful owner. This return doesn't always come through overt pain. Often it comes through a quiet, hollow awakening. A chilling silence in their soul that no new person, no new distraction, no amount of noise can ever fill. In that moment of their reckoning, you do not need to witness it. In fact, it's better that you don't, because you no longer live on that painful frequency. You are dwelling in a higher, more beautiful place now. A place where your inner light is no longer dimmed by longing for someone who couldn't see it. A place where your peace is no longer dependent on anyone or anything outside of you. You do not need to see their downfall to feel a sense of justice. True justice is when you can look back on that chapter of your life and no longer feel the sting of pain. Justice is when you know with every fiber of your being that they no longer have any power to touch your soul. If you're hearing this part of our message, I invite you to take another deep breath with me. Inhale peace and exhale the past. And just feel this: a part of your soul is smiling. Because in the end, what you truly longed for was never revenge. It was peace. And that peace, my beautiful friend, has already begun to blossom within you. In the next part of our journey, I want to explore why you might still feel a strange soul-level connection to the one who hurt you, and reveal the secret, sacred moment when that energetic cord truly breaks and can never ever be tied again. Stay with me, because this next part won't just explain why they still occasionally appear in your dreams, it will serve as a final confirmation that you have at long last been set free. If you've ever felt one of these strange synchronicities, a dream, a number, a song when thinking of the one who hurt you, I want you to leave a declaration in the comments for the universe to witness. Write, "I've received the message from the universe. I am rebuilding my sanctuary." Some endings, my dear Cancer, do not announce themselves with dramatic declarations or final tear-filled conversations. The most profound endings happen in the vast echoing silences. They unfold in the moments stretched so long they almost feel suffocating, until one day you realize you can breathe again. They happen when your heart, once a vigilant sentinel, no longer waits for a message that was never going to come. They happen when your eyes no longer instinctively search for a silhouette that once represented your entire world. The great truth that many souls fail to understand is that not everyone who leaves your life takes your heart with them. Some people depart, but you still carry their essence inside you like a phantom limb, a soul debt that feels inexplicably heavy. This isn't because you haven't let go in the conventional sense. It's because there was once a profound and invisible energetic thread woven between you. This thread was created from the very fabric of shared memories, whispered promises, unspoken emotions, and wounds that no one else in the world ever witnessed. I know you've asked yourself these questions in the lonely hours of the night. Why do I keep remembering them with such clarity even though they shattered my trust? Why do they still appear in my dreams even when I have no desire to look back anymore? The answer, my friend, does not live in the logical corridors of the mind. It lives in the deepest, most sacred chamber of your soul, where that energetic thread still remains, waiting for a soul brave enough to finally decisively cut it. This thread is so much more than a simple attachment. For a soul as deep and nurturing as a Cancer, it is a lunar bond, an energy pact of the heart home. It doesn't truly belong to you, and it doesn't belong to them. It was a third entity, created by the sheer frequency of pure, wholehearted emotion that you once poured into the connection. One single act of creating a sanctuary for another soul can create a spiritual rhythm, an energetic signature that lasts longer than lifetimes. You are masters of emotional merging, of creating a safe harbor for another and seeing them in their totality. And when that connection is broken without honor, the energetic echo can be deafening. But then one day, something miraculous happens. You awaken and you realize your heart is still beating a powerful and steady drum, but its rhythm is no longer for them. You still remember the past, but the memories no longer have the power to pull you back into the tides of longing. You still feel because you are a being of immense feeling, but you no longer cry their name into your pillow. That, my beautiful friend, is the sacred moment the cord is cut. There is no sound, there is no grand ceremony. There is only a profound internal shift. It is the moment your soul quietly, lovingly, and powerfully gathers back all of the precious warmth, all of the sacred energy it once poured towards a soul who was not worthy of receiving it. Dear Cancer, you once tried to save a soul that did not wish to be saved. You are a natural healer, a shaman of the emotional realm. You reached out your hand even as it trembled with your own pain. You pressed their agony into your own chest, just so you could offer them a smile, a moment of peace. And because of this profound depth of connection, you thought, there must be something eternally deep between us. And you were right, there was. But we must understand a critical spiritual distinction. Deep does not always mean destined. Deep does not mean you are required to stay in the abyss with them forever. Sometimes, deep is simply a sacred karmic passing through a lesson designed to teach you the ultimate act of power, how to release a bond with love and still keep your own tender, magnificent heart intact. I want you to truly know this and feel it in your bones. The moment the pain truly ceases is the moment you have fully stepped out of their soul's orbit. There is no lingering resentment, no simmering anger, no desire for them to see what they've lost. There is just a soft, neutral gaze back at the past, as if you are looking at a house you once lived in. You can be grateful for the shelter it once provided, grateful for the lessons learned within its walls, but you have absolutely no desire to ever return. In spiritual meditation, this is called release. In the world of energy healing, it is known as the withdrawal of the soul from a toxic bond. And in many religions, it is the moment the divine whispers, "I have seen enough of your suffering, my child. It is time now. Go." You are not their savior, Cancer. You did not come to this earth to fix the heart that so carelessly broke yours. You came here to realize through that very experience that real, true divine love will never, ever ask you to lose yourself in the process of loving another. That lesson was excruciating, I know, but it was also the alchemical fire that transformed you from the victim in the story to the sovereign soul who is finally utterly and completely home within yourself. And do you know the unmistakable sign that you are truly free? It's when you hear news of them, perhaps see them smile in a photo online, and your heart doesn't even flinch. It's when you hear their names spoken in conversation, and it's just a word, no longer a blade that twists in your gut. The ultimate sign is when you look at your own reflection in the mirror and see a soul that has miraculously, painstakingly, and beautifully pieced itself back together without a single ounce of their help. Dear Cancer, you are no longer the soul who cried beneath the quiet gaze of the moonlight. Now you are the moonlight, silent, mysterious, powerful, gentle, and forever shining with a light that is all your own. You are the one who was hurt and consciously chose not to retaliate. You are the one who waited for an apology that never came, and then in a profound act of self-love, you chose to forgive anyway, not so they could sleep better at night, but so you could finally breathe freely again. Perhaps they never saw how precious you were, but that no longer matters, because you know. And that is, and has always been, more than enough. They might still be out there repeating their empty patterns, hurting other unsuspecting souls, running from accountability with every breath they take. But now no one is there to carry their karma for them, because you, my friend, have stepped out of that karmic circle. When you let go, the cord breaks. And when the cord breaks, the energy of karma, which must always find a home, finally returns to its rightful source. You don't need to witness it. You don't need to hear them confess their wrongdoings. You just need to keep walking forward into your own light. And with every single step you take, you affirm to the universe, I no longer belong to pain. I belong to peace. If you feel lighter today than you did a year ago, if you can take a deep breath without that familiar tightness in your chest, that is your sign. You have successfully left that soul tie in the past, and you never ever have to return. And if tonight you dream again, but this time it is not of them, if you dream of yourself in a new radiant form, light-free, powerful, and serene, then congratulations. Your soul has made its final beautiful choice. In our final part, I will tell you why everything that is now coming your way is no longer a difficult lesson, but a magnificent reward. A reward meant only for the soul that made it all the way through the fire without becoming bitter. Stay with me until the very end, because I am going to reveal a sacred treasure that is being sent to you by the universe. But it can only be received by a heart that has dared to let go of the one who made you believe you weren't worthy of miracles. If you have ever felt like you just escaped an invisible bond that you carried for far too long, I invite you to declare this to the universe in the comments below. Right, I have cut the cord and I am home. You once contorted your beautiful soul, trying so desperately to make someone understand that you were worthy of their love, their respect, their loyalty, but today you no longer feel that need. Because clarity, a profound and unshakable clarity, has become the new foundation of your existence. Not pain, not confusion, not longing, just pure, undeniable truth and radiant, self-generated light. Cancer, from this moment forward, you do not have to prove a single thing to anyone. You no longer need to say I was hurt. You no longer need to recount the story of how you gave everything and received so little in return. Your very presence, gentle yet powerful, refined yet resilient, unwavering in its quiet strength, is the clearest and most eloquent testament to the treacherous road you have walked. You did not survive the fire simply to retell the story of the smoke and the flames. You survived to rise from the ashes to shine brilliantly from the very places that once broke you. You have become a living, breathing miracle of alchemy. The world calls it resilience. I call it magic. You took the lead of your pain and transformed it into the gold of your wisdom. You are the phoenix reborn. No one saw you crying in the silent darkness of the night. No one knew that you prayed to God, to the universe, to whatever you hold sacred, and pleaded, "Please, just for once, let me feel like I am enough." No one heard that broken voice inside you that whispered every single time you were abandoned or betrayed, "What did I do wrong? What more was I supposed to be?" But there is one who heard it all. The cosmos heard you. And more importantly, your own higher self heard you. You weren't chosen for this path because you suffered more than others. You were chosen because you possess a rare and incredible strength. You never let your suffering turn you into someone you are not. You remained true to your core. You stayed soft in a world that tried to make you hard. You stayed loyal when loyalty was betrayed. You stayed deeply, profoundly loving even when your love was treated as if it were worthless. Maybe no one else stayed with you long enough to honor that strength. But you, my friend, you stayed with yourself. And that right there changed everything. Now you don't need anyone to hand you love on a silver platter, because you have finally begun to live your life as someone who knows deep in their bones that they are love itself. You used to wait for someone to finally understand you. You used to pray that they would come back and see the error of their ways. You used to hold on to the hope that if you just tried a little harder, were a little more patient, a little more perfect, they would finally see the treasure that was your heart. But today you are no longer waiting. You are living. You are creating. You are expanding. You are living without apology, without expectation, without contorting yourself into a shape that might be more palatable to someone else. You are finally loving yourself with the same fierce, unconditional, all-encompassing devotion that you once so freely gave to others. The great Buddha once said that happiness doesn't come when others change. It comes when you no longer need them to. And the divine in its infinite love whispers to you now in the silence, "I knew your heart before you ever spoke a word. I saw your worth all along. You were once the soul they so carelessly overlooked. But now you are the soul that is quietly, magnificently lifting yourself up piece by loving peace with the brilliant light you have gathered from every single moment that no one else showed up for you. You are moving forward not with the ghost of the old version of them, but with the glorious, empowered new version of you, the one who broke and then taught herself how to stand again, how to smile, a genuine smile again, how to walk through this world without losing her tender yet warrior heart. If someone once walked away from you, then today you are the one who is walking away from the old version of yourself, the one who once needed them to feel whole. You no longer ask for love. You no longer wait for miracles, because now you know with a certainty that resonates in your very soul that you are the miracle. Take a deep, victorious breath, Cancer. Place your hand gently over your powerful heart and whisper these words either out loud or in your spirit, "I have crossed over. I am no longer living in the past." You don't need anyone else to confirm it for you. You don't need to keep looking back over your shoulder. The old story has been closed, not with a dramatic final sentence, not with a climactic fight, but with a deep, profound healing that never needed to explain itself to anyone. You've traveled far enough from the wreckage that you no longer need to be angry at the storm. And you've moved close enough to your own divinity that you can now touch something far greater than romantic love. You can touch clarity, you can touch power, you can touch peace. If you feel a quiet stillness inside you now, if you hear the sound of emptiness and no longer fear its echo, if everything in your life suddenly feels like it is enough and you can't quite explain why, then congratulations. You have just passed through a sacred gateway that very, very few souls ever dare to walk through. And now for the treasure, the reward. The universe is sending you gifts, Cancer. The first is the gift of magnetism. As you stand in your authentic power, you will find that the right people, the right opportunities, the right connections are drawn to you effortlessly. You no longer have to chase, you simply have to be. The second gift is heightened intuition. Your psychic senses, already so strong, will become crystal clear. You will feel the truth in your gut the way the tides feel the pull of the moon. Trust these feelings. They are your divine guidance system now fully online and calibrated to your highest good. And the final most precious gift is the capacity for a new love. A love that is not based on codependency or fixing another person. A love that is built on mutual respect, shared honor, and two whole sovereign souls choosing to build a sanctuary together. This is the love you have always deserved. If you are ready for this next beautiful chapter of your life, if you can feel yourself standing on the threshold between the fading of the old world and the blooming of the new, I want you to leave one final powerful declaration in the comments. Let the universe hear your voice. Write, I am the one who carries warmth, not for others to take, but for my own soul to dwell in. Thank you, magnificent Cancer soul, for listening to this message with your open and courageous heart. If you feel that a part of you has been healed or validated here today, then you are the very one this message was created for. May you go forward and live in your own brilliant, mysterious, and powerful light, no longer needing anyone else to shine it for you. Just you being you. And that, my beautiful friend, is more than enough. It is everything. Thank you for joining me here on the Zodiac of Mind. If you haven't already, please subscribe and join our community of awakening souls. We have so much more to explore together on your path. Feel free to click on another video to continue your journey. Remember, you are the alchemist. You are the creator of your reality, and you are capable of achieving your wildest, most beautiful dreams. I send you an abundance of joy, love, and unwavering success. Until next time,